It has been a busy day at the White House. Let's talk about it with Andrew Feinberg, White House correspondent for Breakfast Media, up late with me on the Final Five. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
We know Kellyanne Conway, for one, has been somebody who's been devoutly loyal to the president after she decided to change her allegiances during the 2016 campaign. As we start with her, the word that came out from the Office of Special Counsel that she should be removed from her job because she violates the Hatch Act, we've heard this before. Nothing's going to change.
No, not at all. And the White House put out a statement that basically said that they are suggesting that holding her to the standards that other administrations' employees have been held by, and what the standard that really every federal employee is held to, is somehow an infringement on her First Amendment rights. And any ethics law expert you talk to would say that's ridiculous.
And I think it goes back to, really started back whenever she was backing Roy Moore over Doug Jones in the Alabama Senate race, and then it's moved on to Joe Biden. And I was looking at her tweets the other day. I mean, look, we know that she is a devoutly loyal Republican. She supports her side. But, you know, I think it just speaks to the fact that whenever she was confronted about this a couple of weeks ago, and I know you were even in the exchange that you had with her was brought up in that report from the special counsel, she said, you know, let me know what the jail sentence is.
Well, I wasn't the first reporter to bring that up. Zeke Miller from AP asked her if she should really be talking about Joe Biden because of the Hatch Act trouble she got into last year, and she just flat out lied and said she was never found to have violated the Hatch Act. So I asked her again, are you saying you didn't violate the Hatch Act? And her response was blah, blah, blah. Let me know when the jail sentence starts.
Right.
And suggesting that it was all a joke.
Okay, so the other big story of the day was the announcement about Sarah Huckabee Sanders leaving. I know it had been hinted at in the past, but, you know, you spent a lot of time in the briefing room, although I would likely say not much time in the last 94 days since we last saw a briefing there. Is she going to be seen as somebody who, you know, did the job the president wanted her to do, which was put up a united front against what he perceives as a dishonest media, or is she going to be remembered otherwise?
Well, I definitely think she was there doing the job the president wanted her to do. Whether that's the job that a White House press secretary traditionally does, I'm not sure. Generally, press secretaries guard their credibility very jealously, and they, the thing that they're most afraid of is lying to the press, because they're not just the spokesperson for the president, they're pretty much a guardian of that. And Sarah's background was not in political communications. She wasn't like what we like to call a career flack.
Right.
And so she came in with a different mentality, and I think the combination of that and the president's wishes for what he thinks a press secretary is supposed to do resulted in someone doing a job that was not quite what any of us expected, and really what any previous press secretary had been like.
So as we move ahead here, I think, you know, the favorite guessing game in Washington is who's next, who's coming in next. But, you know, the argument has been made about President Trump. He's his best spokesperson, and a lot of the times we would hear Sarah Sanders say something, and, you know, the president would contradict it or just say something that was different, had a different intent, had a different angle. So, you know, does it really matter if we're going to go this long without having White House press briefings? Does it matter that we don't have a press secretary, or do you think the president's going to use this opportunity to bring in somebody?
Oh, no, it absolutely matters, because there are issues on a day-to-day basis that don't rise to the level of something that you're going to ask the president about. There are mundane details that you need to know. There's administrative tasks that need to be performed, and you need a press secretary to do that job. And so you're going to have someone in that role. Now, who it's going to be, I don't know. Maybe some people some reporters who might be a little more plugged in than I am, might have some idea. You know, there's Hogan Ginley, who's a fellow Arkansan, and has been in that press office since pretty early on, and then
and by the way, and you mentioned his name. It actually makes a lot of sense, because he's somebody who has done the professional flat game. He was Rick Santorum's campaign spokesman in 2012. So we're going to see what happens. But hey, Andrew, I appreciate it. I know that this has been a busy day for a lot of people, and just the beginning of many more, I'm sure. Thank you very much, Andrew Feinberg.
Thanks again.
We're back after this in the Final Five.